Hey, nerdy sports fan here. We're talking week 10 NFL football. Man, how the season flies by, right? So, Thursday night matchup, we have the Chargers going up against the Raiders. So, um, this is a home game for the Raiders. Doesn't really mean too much because, well, they're both California teams, and yeah, Oakland's moving, so their home field advantage hasn't been that great. Chargers pretty much play every game on the road, so against the Chargers, having a home game doesn't really mean much. That being said, we're still giving the home bump in the spread to the Oakland Raiders, and they, well, still come out as 1 point underdogs. So neither team really has any consistency right now. The Raiders are a young team, and because of that youth, they're inconsistent. They have games where they flash brilliance on offense mostly. But yeah, it's not there every week. It's not even there every quarter. The Chargers seem to be doing exactly what they've done for the past decade, which is start slow and then get hot. A big thing to do with that was Ingram coming back from injury. Nick Bosa having somebody on the opposite side of the defensive line really helps him out, frees him up to do what he does best. Nobody does well against double and triple teams consistently. And now that they can't do that every single play because they have somebody who's equally dominant on the opposite side, Bosa's freed up, Ingram got his. I mean, this defense is entirely different when both of those guys are healthy and doing their thing. We saw that against Green Bay. Green Bay is one of the best teams in the league, and the Chargers absolutely dominated last week. They held Green Bay to under 200 yards of total offense. Now, you can chalk some of that up to it just being kind of a trap game for Green Bay, but not all of it, okay? You're not going to get entirely dominated in your trap game. You're going to have a letdown. Somewhat emotional, somewhat, just brain farts on plays, but not utterly dominated. So I just think we're seeing what the Chargers defense was supposed to be from the beginning of the season, now that they're becoming fully healthy. Rivers is still an immobile quarterback, and he's still inconsistent. He still doesn't have the greatest offensive line, but now his running back room is full again, and that takes some pressure off of him. He's got multiple backs that can help in the blocking scheme, and that works. That's going to keep him off the ground more. It's going to keep him from having pressure in his face when he's throwing the ball more. So as the defense improves, well, now the running game becomes more important. Well, they have Gordon back now from his holdout. He's been back for a few weeks, so now he's not as rusty. The only thing they really need now is for Keenan Allen's ankle to really fully heal and flesh that situation out. But you can't ask for perfection. 10 weeks into the season, everybody's dinged up. It just seems that the Chargers were dinged up at the beginning of the season, and they're getting healthy at the right time. The Raiders, their inconsistency doesn't have anything to do with injury. And that's why I think the Chargers have the leg up here. They are a veteran team with good coaching, good leadership, and getting healthy at the right time for the stretch run. I think that division is still very much up for grabs. The Chiefs have flexed dominance more recently, but only on offense. Their defense is still hot garbage. So games like this really matter. The Chargers bringing themselves back to 500 in a division where, well, that still means something. I think there's still something to fight for here. And Phillip Rivers is definitely a fiery leader. And he's not that won't be lost on him. Derek Carr and the young team surrounding him, I don't think is going to have the answer energy-wise. I think the energy source for this team still very much is John Gruden. They don't have somebody on the field who's really laying that out there as much from a leadership standpoint on offense. Everybody who's extremely talented and really making a difference on the Raiders offense right now, they're very, very young. And specifically, we got to talk about Josh Jacobs. This guy is phenomenal at the running back position. But a running back, one, and a rookie, two, the guy's not going to take on a huge leadership role. That really should fall to Derek Carr. And he's never really proven himself to be that emotional leader or even a hard-nosed kind of, do as I say kind of leader like you would get out of, say, a Tom Brady. You don't have that with Carr. And at this point in his career, I don't think he's going to develop that either. So he is what he is, and you got to deal with that. So since everything's coming directly from the coach, they have to have a superior game plan, and the team has to be emotionally riled up ahead of time and keep that energy throughout the game, all on their lonesome without people supporting that on the field. And in a game where I expect the Chargers to come correct, I don't think Oakland has it in them. Now, if you look at their stats, it's kind of skewed. Again, the Chargers are going to be much better now than they were at the beginning of the season due to people becoming healthy. So how they've been against the run to this point, how they've been against the pass to this point, isn't necessarily going to represent what they're going to be able to do in this game. Have they been giving up over 100 yards a game in run? Yes. Did they hold one of the better running backs in the league in Aaron Jones to 30 yards last week? So, yeah, the numbers just don't jive. Okay, so you can't use those statistics when you're gauging this game. I think the fact that they're only 1-point favorite is a joke. Their defense is going to be primed and ready to stop this young offense for the Raiders. Phillip Rivers is going to be on fire from the opening gun, and he's got a lot of weapons to deal with. I expect them to win this by a minimum of a touchdown, possibly more. Fantasy football-wise, Josh Jacobs is still a workhorse, so you need to start him, but don't expect fantastic things out of him. Based off of the defensive performance that the Chargers had last week and their history for getting hot mid-season to late season, I doubt that Jacobs is going to have a strong game. I expect most of the throws to go between Josh Jacobs and their tight end Waller. Derek Carr is a very conservative quarterback. He's a dink and dunk kind of guy. So PPR leagues, Waller and Jacobs, fan-freaking-tastic. But standard scoring, they're going to be iffy because, well, they're going up against a very good defense. I don't really see a receiver that warrants a start for Oakland, but maybe. I just think they're all desperation plays. There's plenty of better receivers out there in the league. From the Chargers' standpoint, Rivers is a very good start right now for bye week management. So we've got some important quarterbacks on a bye week right now in Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson, both whom I own and both whom I backed up with Phillip Rivers. So this is the kind of game you want for that. Oakland does not have a very good passing defense, and there's no sign that that's going to get better, and Rivers is going to knife right through them. So if Keenan Allen was fully healthy, which I'm still not sure he is, I would anticipate he would have a fantastic game, but I would say good games from both Allen and Mike Williams. In the backfield, both running backs seem to be sharing the load enough to score well. Gordon and Eckler are both starts. Neither one of them is a lock number one because it's a split backfield. So running back 2 to flex play for both of those guys. I like Eckler more in PPR leagues than I do in standard scoring leagues. That's what I have for this game, guys. The Chargers are going to beat the spread. Fantasy football-wise, it's going to be a meh kind of game for everybody except for Phillip Rivers, who's going to go off. Hit up the rest of my videos to see what I think about the rest of the games, fantasy football-wise. Hit up the Nerdy Sports Fan Weekly for our weekly power rankings, as well as some opinions on the news of the recent transactions of people going on injured reserve and such. So, yeah, check out the rest of those videos, guys. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.